Your kid's the kid that maybe melts down at birthday parties when all the other kids are having fun, or a tag or a lump in their sock just really irritates them to no end, or just sounds feel like they're vacuum cleaners when really they're really small. It could be something as simple as like the chirp of a fire alarm just runs them crazy to no end. And every single day you just feel like you're just holding on and just trying to keep every teeny tiny little piece together, because taking one misstep is like stepping on an eggshell and can just cause chaos throughout the rest of the day and a huge sensory explosion. If that's your world, I want you to know that you're not alone first. And the next thing that I want you to know is that I know you've probably been told that it's just a phase and that they're going to grow out of it. But deep down, the last thing is you're probably feeling like you're doing something wrong, or you're being too accommodating for your kid. And you maybe even feel like other parents think that you're a bad parent and you're just making excuses for your child's bad behavior. But that's not true. That's not the truth. Here's what nobody is actually telling you. It's that your child's nervous system, when it's experiencing the world a lot differently than other kids, is actually a sign. It's a sign that something is off and that something needs to be approached a little bit differently. Yeah, it's not that you're a bad parent or that you're doing something wrong or you're accommodating for your kid, because it's not none of that. It's definitely not something that they're doing on purpose. Their brain and their body are just stuck in what we call overdrive, or fight or flight overdrive. And that's why every little thing, every touch, every sound, every experience is just overstimulating. It's a part of a whole thing that we call sensory processing disorder. And you've probably heard that before, and maybe you're wondering, like, what the heck actually is that? So let me tell you a story about a little girl named Emmy that came to our practice. Her parents came to our practice just wondering why she was so unhappy and kind of an aggressive kid, and they'd had to switch schools a few different times so that she could actually participate in school. And it just was kind of this unending string of shifting and moving from the next place to the next place to the next place. And mom was getting exhausted because it meant for her that her child was having to restart all over again. She had to worry that maybe the same stuff was going to happen again. And for Emmy, it kept on getting worse because she had to start over again and almost felt like, what's wrong with me? She's a little bit older. So this isn't rare. Actually, today, research shows that about 1 in 6 kids struggle with sensory processing challenges. And so that means that millions of families are being told to wait and see while their child suffers day in and day out. And so for Emmy, the story didn't end with her just having to keep on switching schools. After starting neurologically focused chiropractic care, her parents saw a complete transformation in her, where she was able to actually process more of the now, like what's going on now when she's experiencing things at school. And she's able to understand that other kids aren't just trying to do things to bother her. Like, she's able to actually process that within her mind. And so she went from basically yelling and getting in sometimes physical fights with other kids to actually happily being able to say hi and process and be a participating member of her school group, which is super, super cool. So she was really trapped with sensory overwhelm, but she finally found freedom. It's really one of my favorite stories. So what I want you to do is think of your child's nervous system as an air traffic control system. It's trying to guide thousands and thousands of planes at once. And for kids that have sensory issues, it's really hard for them to coordinate all those different planes at the same time. And not only that, but each plane has its own different criteria in which it needs to run, different buttons that need to be pushed and levers that need to be pulled in order to operate appropriately. And so eventually, when you add in too many different smells, too many different sounds, many different people, then everything starts to come crashing in, and their system just can't handle that and filter things out the way that it should. And that's when life feels like it's just totally chaotic and overwhelm begins to happen. So there are 3 types of sensory challenges. The first one is a hypersensitive kid. So a kid that reacts too strongly to maybe sounds, so they'll be covering their ears. They might have to rip off tags all the time, or you might have to cut off tags, and they might have the melting down in crowds. So that's the first type of sensory kid. The second type is a hyposensitive kid, or a low sensitive kid, one that craves intense input. So this is the more commonly with boys, where They just feel like they need to always have something to do. They need to be crashing, climbing, knocking things over, just constantly stimulating their nervous system. And then most kids actually kind of swing in between both. They'll have these highs of highs where they need this constant stimulation, and then they'll swing down, and it'll eventually, that high of high will actually tip them over the edge, even though they wanted that to begin with, and it all comes crashing down. So these three types of challenges, they don't just appear out of thin air, right? They build layer upon layer, time over time, and what it comes from is things like perinatal stress, maybe even reproductive issues, and then birth interventions, colic reflux, constipation, frequent antibiotics. Each stressor adds on tension to the nervous system until it gets stuck in this fight or flight mode. And then a condition called dysautonomia starts to occur, which is basically a crap term for dysfunction with the autonomic nervous system. There's so much stuff happening. It's so overwhelming. It's like a smoke alarm that won't turn off. And we just, doctors just don't really know what to do about it. But here's what's cool. Things like occupational therapies and sensory integration are great tools for your kids, but a lot of times what will happen is the nervous system will do well with those for a while, and then it'll start to maybe like plateau off, or they'll do well for a while and then it'll actually drop back down, because those things can only work if the nervous system is out of a fight or flight mode and isn't just stuck in survival all the time. And so it helps them stay in a better level, but ultimately we can get them even better if we communicate and work things from a different perspective. So here's what you need to remember. Your child isn't broken, they're stuck, and their nervous system is trapped in a pattern that just can't handle it on its own. And so here's what's cool is it can be shifted. So when we address the neurological root cause with neurologically focused chiropractic care, and we tap into something that we call neuroplasticity, which is your kid's brain's ability to change itself, and some adults for that matter too, but especially with kids, we have a high level of adaptability within their brain so that we can improve those brain to body connections and help that sensory overload decrease in a significant way, so then they can function more of the way that they're supposed to. That's what we do at Renegade Chiropractic, is we help kids with just this very thing. And again, no matter where they started off, if it was with perinatal stress, if it was post a stressful birth, if they've been this way since they were a baby or a toddler, or whatever the case is, we figure out what's going on, and then we use very specific chiropractic care to help shift them out of that trajectory so their body can then do more of what it's supposed to do. So if you have questions about this, comment on the video, shoot us a direct message. You can also join our mailing list where we talk about this stuff often. And if you want answers for your kid, we're here for you.